Để nó là vấn đề đối với TV này cái screen quá bự, lên Facebook thì nó chỉ thấy được một phần, nhưng tôi không có cái mà em đợi không sao hết. Anh bên
One of our distinguished guests. So the first webinar on the line of Smart City Plus Arttech Tuesday, Eventually 2021, hosted by the UEH Institute of Smart City and Management, and in the collaboration with the partner and outcome Institute of Innovation. And with our panelists and others, we can cozy with where the form of activity and the participants can use VR technology to explore other campus and virtual exhibition. In this appropriate, think about how the technology nowadays can contribute to building up a more livable city for each citizen. It's very nice to be now a chance to discuss with our professor and experts from many livable cities around the world. In the webinar, Livable SMARTCITY come together for the sustainable future city. Thank the landscape and urban designer at the Belgian design company OSCP since 2023. He is guest lecturer at ISM since 2020. Stephen is a graduate lecturer on various international universities. Throughout the regions such as politics and cultural paradox landscape. And please join us in welcoming Stephen.
Thank you, Mr. for the warm welcome and the kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be moderator for this webinar. The program for this evening is as follows. So first, we will listen to four inspiring presentations, and afterwards we will have a panel discussion, and last but not least, the audience will have the opportunity to ask questions to the panelists. But let me first kindly introduce our five panelists. All of them are professional experts in the work field of smart cities. All of them have a very diverse background, but they have one important thing in common. They are all passionate by smart cities. Ms. Rinduan is our first guest. She is the director of the Institute of Smart City and Management, and she is the driving force of this institute. She is also responsible for the organization of this webinar. So welcome, Tuan, and thank you so much for the professional organization of this webinar. So thank you for this. Our second guest is Peter Chu. He is the president of the World Smart Cities Forum, and this is a non-profit organization based in London. He also runs our iLabs, New York-based Smart City Investment, and also XMB, a London-based tech accelerator. He was also the former master plan of South Korea National Smart City Project, and currently he is working on 7 master plan cities around the world, including Hanoi here in Vietnam. So Peter, welcome, and thank you for joining this webinar. Our third guest is Gianluca Galletto. He is the principal of the Global Futures Group. This is a consulting firm for governments on smart cities with best practices and business-seeking international expansion. Gianluca is a professional expert, and he advises organizations at the intersection of economical development, technology, and business development. So, Gianluca, welcome to this webinar. Our fourth guest is Mr. Ivan. For me, he is one of the most special panelists because Mr. Ivan is an artist. He is the pioneer of the Vietnamese contemporary art. And Ivan's work is risk-taking and brilliant art. And he also explores the possibilities in the contemporary art scene today. He has taken many art forms to a new level, and we also use technology in media and app art. So in this way, this artist is also related to the smart city technology and innovation. Actually, he is an innovative artist. Welcome, and last but not least, also one of the online panelists is Mr. Wu Yin. He is the director of the Architecture Research Center at the HCMC Department of Urban Planning and Architecture. Although his background is on architecture and urban design, Young takes a keen interest in what and how ICT and GIS can help the government to resolve existing and emerging urban issues. His knowledge about this technology and applications is very relevant in the field of smart cities. So again, also welcome to this webinar. So now, after the introduction of our panelists, we can start with the first presentation. So Ms. Finn, may I invite you to start your uh, nice presentation of the smart livable city.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your very nice introduction of me and our panelists. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and say how this is our webinar. So today we also can see that we have economic salary or we are to say inspiring one of the very interesting topics in the life of smart city. Because not only now smart city is like a concept, not only within countries all the world, but how to make it more reliable, how to adapt for some people physically, depend on the content of the country. So, if we go to the definition of the livable city, so everybody know that we have many types of city, where the people can live and have a better quality of life. Each type of the city, type can go with the city. So, we also visit like the livable city as an standard, the guideline, the village, but in the end, the meta that we decide the list that where the people live, all the people live. And livable city, you also can see here from what's right, but they also give the 10 aspects of the livable city. But there's also think that the citizen can get a better education, environment, public transport, access to the good services, the healthcare, and housing. Also, one of the main policies. And for the smart city, we also have the six main dimensions of the category of the environment, about the how do you say the city plan, the infrastructure, and so on. And this kind of the city, like I mentioned earlier, the livable city or smart city is also living on
nhưng mà
the culture
đi
life.
vào tự nhiên
So
bao
this
nhiêu
is
cái cũng như trong bên đó
for the culture life, we have many experts to decide which one, like material living, condition, or like government and basic rights. And the other impact like the health, education, natural living environment, or other experience of life. This all impact on the art. This means that art is the main factor of impact to increase or to make it increases the quality of life. Because nowadays we also can see like our video to show the disease. We have approached a lot of the other issues. So from the human, it's also from the natural disaster, and it's also from the different content of the different cities. So how the art can make it more sustainable and how to make the people feel happy. And the other trend we also can see nowadays we talk a lot about it. And implementation is really impact our life. And a lot of people thinking about smart cities, they are how to make smart or faster. And we also can see here's one example of the soul the federal of Korea. It's also one of the smartest cities in the world. They always on the list. And they also try to apply the technology on the street or the village street. So it makes the people walker more safer when they cross the road. And this also the one can apply a lot, the urban platform. So, reliable and fast, we also can see here what we can have a city. There's just one way a lot of the street, the wide street, but the people they can have it more comfortable, more interesting life. So the two Arttech fusion is not, how do you say, it's not the newer, but here in Vietnam is funny. So we also want to combine between Arttech to make this one of the identity to make it friendly. So a lot of the city around the world they apply Arttech as a tool to make the identity of their city and also increasing the quality of life for people. Like in this country, they make the workforce stable for the smart workforce. So this means that they bring apply how the people can live and they try to create the thinking of the people to make the smart city. On the other thing, they also connect the other reliability, the rule for the the 2.0, and also with the software of the smart IT, you also no need to go that exhibition you see with the app. But this doesn't mean that you don't need to go there. This helps you to code the distance and to make the decision that where you want to go, take a look, see the field and the reality. So we also give the one question for the university. What would you want to develop on the university? The university is also one of the big cities in Vietnam, and it's also one kind of the city for the developing country. We have to furnish a lot of the university. And also, what thing of the culture that is highlight of the university, and what things we can bring to become the identity for the university. What thing you can show it for the other discipline. So in this year, with the ISCM, also our partner, we want to bring our city identity from smart and active way. So we also have a different local partners, right? And also some of the partners like the video. They are very good on the building the identity of the dialogue. It's also we call it an act, connecting the all the people to the exhibition, to the music, to a lot of community activity. All in our place, it was massively management. It's like a live music, like guitar, and all the simulation, and breathing or meditation to go with the show business around the organization. With the like one of the our news institute of the innovation, we also try to offer the Z. This means the very most popular population in the city and also in Vietnam. So with all of that, we will combine with the art and technology to make the identity for the city, and to the art of the technology, we also try to show some organizations like road safety, education platform, where we build the platform of like education with a lot of art inside to educate the kids how to go safer and how to change their behavior for the safety. Or we also work with the smart app for the tourism to integrate the people to city. Our passion target at the end of this year, we also develop the walking street that we call a street performance, where we can collaborate all of the activity there on the street, and also technology and also the local economic like a vendor and how to manage this go very well. So it's some way somehow, but we also can make it for the better life and quality of life. So technology they somehow they also the technology is not everything. So robot they also create to make the better life and things like that. When we have the first robots that can also have the man and basically like personality, we also accept that nothing can replace on the feeling or the set of the so these all of the things that I'm trying to say. These all the things that I think all are my colleagues in the field of the quality of the technology, the art, and the reality. Develop a field which is massively legacy and the journal for all this.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Tom, for this very interesting presentation and how you make the link between the quality of life and the art fusion and also the trenches to Ho Chi Minh City. Now I would like to invite our second panelist, Peter, to give his presentation and give us his view on how to make smart livable city. So we would invite you to share the presentation and to bring your reflections to us.
Well, just hang on a second. It's my pleasure to be here to share my insight and experiences in terms of responsible. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you also see the presentation, right? So my name is Peter Chan. I'm actually based in New York and London. So currently, because of coronavirus, there's no way I can actually travel around the world. So I'm staying in New York City for the time being. So today I'd like to share what's going on in small cities around the world and what kind of role that the stakeholders of small city they have pursued. Um, Actually, we are building a smart city in terms of our plan and implementation of plans around the world. Actually, working on 7 different cities, including London and Maryland State in the United States, and Ukrainian country inside the cities in Ukraine. And you just mentioned that earlier, also in charge of the Journal of Functional Plan for foreign industry in South Korea and Brazil and Asia. So the thing is, smart city, the concept and the terminologies, and everyone talking about smart city cannot be the same because of the city is going to be different, just like the difference of the people. So I think just because based on the different culture, history, and the level of education also the mindsets and the algorithm. So eventually the smart city will be all distinctive and unique compared to other cities. So a lot of questions from the bureaucrats and the literature every city is one of them, and they actually ask me about definition of smart city, but there's no such a kind of decent definition of smart city. But the goal is very big because we have to persuade people making the city with satisfaction. So what is the level of satisfaction of investors? For even non-investors, frequent travelers, or students and from other outside of the city, they have to be happy to live there, to experience all different types of contents, pressure, and also the level of the I think the technology is also is very important because the city a lot of people live in the city and people change all the time. Just like city is eventually changes. In a way of the difference and the process. And I think that that's why technology should be also changed and technologies and solutions will be actually support the activities of human beings and residents and also help the stakeholders. So let me actually show you what kind of the activities and the major things of the different cities will actually focus on. So for example, Amsterdam, I actually personally visited Amsterdam in 1991, about 3 years ago. They already started with the smart city initiatives. They trying to kick off all the cars running around the city out of the city because they were aware of the air pollution and noise design. But now we can still see a lot of the cars running around downtown Amsterdam. But the thing is, generators now changed. Generators back in the 1990s, now it's actually senior people, like more than 60 years old. Now, the generators between 20s, 40s, they actually fancy how to living and working so that they can reduce the gap, to put it one less time between the workplace and home.
and also they really have some concerns about paying a lot of money to housing. So the local based housing is also a big issue in the answer. At the same time, they want to try to reduce the cost, generate the energy. So zero energy buildings, zero energy homes, major concerns and small city initiatives in answer. Likewise, Copenhagen and Denmark, they also really focus on how to make the city much more cleaner and make the city much more eco-friendly cities. And unlike other cities and countries in Asia, the European nations they are much more focused on the renewable energy. So Spain is really has been working on is studying the renewable energy platforms since 1990s. I think maybe the last 20 years. I heard that more than 40% coming from the renewable energy to run the entire cities and countries. Singapore is really keen to do something with smart cities, so they issued smart nation initiatives a few years ago. And virtual reality, which is also you can say digital twin initiatives. So you can collect all the data and actually transform into 3D platforms, and you can test it. What 3D is that you can really build the infrastructure and build this in the city. So this is actually happening in Singapore because Singapore is relatively small to the metropolitan area. So it's really good approach. This is why Singapore we really and this is actually a city for the city challenge program we actually built on in London back in 2014 and 2017. We set the use. This is actually non-governmental, leading projects. Is actually the private sector's leading projects. So what it means covering with science with the city. So we wanted to develop intelligent cities in Canary Manager district in London, East London. So most of the companies and enterprises in those areas is actually finance. So we actually have very strong ecosystem in terms of the finance and everything, but we want to make something different. We try to bring on some sort of innovation. So there are 1,000 companies applied for this program, and we picked up about 100 companies for the core programs. So they actually revenue themselves and throughout the core programs. And 36 companies on 6 different subjects. They picked up by the programs and they get the money from the city and also the private sectors. And they actually move into the other emerging markets and development markets around the world. And some of them will have to become leading. And this is some example if you have to see that the second page, and then the second picture on the left side. That's like the 8th gen model. The sidewalks is actually becoming regenerative. So there are specific sensors on the leaves of the sidewalks, and people walking down the streets and every morning and at night, and it actually collects all the moving energy into the electricity, so that they can actually generate synergy effects between the industries, also the residents and economy. So in a nutshell, I think that there are 3 different types of smart cities initiatives around the world. First of all, government driven and private driven, it means public private partnerships. Most of the initiatives from, for example, Chinese government a few years ago, they wanted to build 300 smart cities inland. I can see that as a really great challenge from the perspective of the government. At the same time, realistically speaking, it's also different. And also, you have to build up the philosophy and core visions and core values in the beginning. So they're trying to replicate all 300 smart cities projects, and
inside China. So that is also the challenging point, and also the matter of the finance and budgets. That will be also a big challenge for the government. Even at the same time, Singapore, of course, still, and I was an entrepreneur myself in the government 2 years ago. The same thing, the government is trying to control everything. There's one good thing about government-driven projects. There's probably obviously because it's actually financed by the government's forces, but at the same time, there's a kind of very small group for the private sector and the active participation from the innovation and something. So it looks like becoming more like new city development projects most of the cases. So which is not good because smart city is fixing the problem of cities. So the way to fix the problem of the city is there are many different things. The technology is one of them. Including the infrastructure, building up the housing, and not only the components. Most of the thing is how we invite people to purchase themselves in the city. What is the high level of satisfaction. So the activities of the innovative people in the city is most important. In that kind of regards, I really recommend the PPP is really big in Vietnam. So the smart city project in the 1 PM area and Hanoi City is at baseline PPP model. We can talk about economic things and before we have to choose technologies, we have to define the things. Before defining the things, we have to define what would be the worst problems or the conflict problems or technological problems of the city. So once you define them, then you can also what kind of solution technology you require. So in Vietnam, for example, we pulled up this kind of thing. So we need a smart building. There's major issues in housing, for example, based on the constant high growth rates of smart city. I mean, the city of Hanoi is basically lots of schools, work running around the city. Most of them run by diesel and gas, and also the construction site is also not a problem. So we are trying to make something eco-friendly structures of mobility and smart building and water security and healthcare safety and waste management are the major concerns now. So we can pull up here. Yeah, this IoT and big data is also the major concept to build to support the smart city. I think we may not be running out of time myself. So let me just go. For example, 70% of the smart city content is not visible, but sometimes you need to look at something visible. I think the smart mobility and the electricity-based mobility platforms in the city is also required. And the smart grid kind of thing, and waste management system. And fintech, those kind of, the combination of those contents and solutions must be included in the infrastructure smart city initiatives in Vietnam. You can line up all different types of technologies around the world. I think that I can actually pull up more than maybe 100 and 200 subcategories, but it depends on the characteristic of the city. Based on that, you can define this technology they require. And so Tech Sandbox is a kind of platform, very promising platform for the city to support smart city projects. So about 30% of the budget goes to the innovations, which is that the startups can be great candidates and R&Ds in the beginning, and also the tech SMEs, small medium enterprises. They have to have opportunities to work directly with the municipalities and the state corporations to operate smart products. And this is basic diagram and how to just make this happening. And smart city sandbox goes like many different types of people programs, and each course requires 12 months. And these municipalities, they actually
working together. We'll soon be all different type of the process and to develop the specific solutions and the technologies that we can actually secure the work of us and they individual companies will to develop globally. And I'm going to skip this part. I'm going to skip this part. So thank you very much for listening. And if you have any questions, and feel free to ask me anytime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your impressive presentation. It was nice to see how you make the link between the practical cases from all over the world to Vietnam and
I don't hear you. Me?
yes,
No,
yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for this impressive presentation. It's nice to see how you make a link between the cases.
No, still, I don't hear you now. Still. You're muted.
Do you hear me now?
You're muted.
One moment. Yes,
Yeah, I hear now.
oh, sorry. The problem. So I would like to thank you for the very nice presentation and your insights on the cases around the world and the link with Hanoi. So now I would like to invite Gianluca to bring us this presentation. As Gianluca has a business background, I'm very curious, Gianluca, about your view on livable smart cities. So I would like to invite you to share your presentation and to give your vision on the smart livable cities. Thank you.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Just want to add a quick thing about my background. I had a long career in finance and business before, but I also spent the last 6 years in this field, especially I worked for the senior of the government. I was the head of the Congress, so all international economic relations of the city of New York, and that's why I basically fell in love with this field. Let me tell you, I'm going to share like a few slides and talk to you about some couple of things. One is what I think it would be some lessons that we learned in New York and what I see also around the world. Then I want to talk about a couple, one actual solutions for sustainability and decarbonization. See, let me go share the presentation. Second, of course, I did. Sorry, guys, I don't know what it is.
This one, take it down.
Sorry.
You are online.
Oh, I know I'm online. The presentation has disappeared. I don't know why. No, I was can I ask you something? I was trying to communicate with you before over the chat. Can you let me know after one? I had a problem with my daughter is going to school, and that's an issue. Sorry, I was trying to text you before, and I had to deal with some stuff. So, can you please let me know that? Because we had some problems over the last week with school and with health. So let me know next. Sorry about that. You know, this all this ordeal that unfortunately we have to live with it. Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem. Take care. Okay, so let me invite Mr. Kudan for this video about the livable smart city. And I'm very curious because
from my personal background as designer, I'm very inspired by art, landmarks, and very curious as well to read your vision, your artistic visions on the livable smart city. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. Other people from thank you for being also very nice to be around on the park. And so I always begin with a little. I was from Vietnam, and I spent a little time. I was born in 1922, and in 1971. So you can see that little town there. And 1971 is the war time, and my mom, is a nurse, and you can see that. Can you play the video?
It isn't long before the buffs show just how much damage they can do.
So it's I guess it's very special to be born during a war time because we don't know.
A year into the war, the B-52
But
dropped an average
from where I live,
8,000 tons
you
of
can
bombs.
see a lot of bombing in the mountain, with something that I guess we don't want anymore.
They quickly gain a reputation.
And so my mom is a nurse, and my dad is a painter, Germany. And it's me, 1 year old. Nice. And then I think, after that, I grew up and I become a painter. So this is the way I visualize it. And then it's a graduation in UCLA and in New York. And so fast forward until now, we used to have this old war that we just saw the video, and now we are dealing with the new war. And you can see it's the B-2 bomber that I drew. And what we are facing now is merchandise dropping on us every day in like a storm. So instead of bomb, we have merchandise. And and so I'm going to start with how I took a smart city and a livable city. This is the sculpture that I made. I call it a Buddha, portrait of emptiness. So during the time I was in Arttech village in Vietnam, I know that an old man told me the vase, on the altar was always empty when it represents emptiness. So I cut it in half, and when I look at it, I think it looks like a torso of a man. So I built, a base for it and add the beads for it, and it becomes a Buddha sculpture, and I call it a portrait of emptiness. And over the years, I keep hollow out the top part and make it into another version, and I love both of them equally. And this is the setup in Houston, in Garden. And so until 2020, I worked with Mr. Yundo and Tom Fowler and Dongwei of B1 Arttech, and we decided to turn a building in Saigon into a sculpture that has the shape of a building, or a building that has the shape of a sculpture. And this is the rendering in 3D, which we hope that someday we're gonna become. So this is the rendering in 3D, in the spirit of the sculpture. And you know that Vietnam has millions and millions of these buildings that are basically identical and rather boring. So why not make one into something very beautiful and meaningful, and still, it become a place for you to work, and also a space that you can do a lot of like performing art or exhibition. Christian inside. So that's the idea that when three of us meet and we talk and brainstorm during COVID-19 time and come up with this beautiful rendering. And we hope that one day it's going to be built. So this is when I come back to Vietnam. You saw that the first video that we played is that's how I feel about traffic in Vietnam. It's like you fish in a school of fish, and you go around, and then I think of how. So in the second video, we pump a lot of exhaust gas into plastic balloon, and it becomes the second video. So after these two videos, I'm asking myself, what I can do with the environmental that I saw around Vietnam. And I got an invitation letter from Thailand in 2017. And during that time, I was in Hong Kong and looking at beautiful landscape. And Krabi is like a little far from Vietnam, so I decided that I want a trip, to Krabi. And Hong Kong here is very beautiful, right? When you look at picture on the internet. But if you come a little closer, and this is very true to all the beaches in Vietnam, and so it's very disturbing. And I think we all know this, but little we can do about it. So when I got the letter from Thailand, I was on this beach, for a retreat for about a month, and I walked around the island, talking to the people there, and see how they do things. And you can see really beautiful boats here, but when you come close, it's really crazy. And I just had to take some pictures for the presentation. And you can see this is something that we face every day. And you can go to the beach and you see a big rock and you paint it and you carve your names on it. It's not very helpful either. So we flew to Krabi, and when I get there, I realized that Thailand is very good at keeping the beach clear. It's very hard to find a piece of plastic on the beach, which is very amazing. So when I was there, I wanted to create a piece of art that doesn't leave anything behind. Because if you put a sculpture here or painting there, it's very hard to compete with the whole nature. And Krabi is very beautiful, you can see. It's like Hạ Long, Nha Trang, and Hồ Nha combined. Amazing. So I look at the footprint of people around the island, and I decided that I propose a piece of work that doesn't leave anything behind. And I make a pair of slippers called Eco D. The D is like Vietnamese D, and Eco is eco-friendly. And so this is the 3D rendering. And so I made the first test in Vietnam, a very rough one, and luckily it came out very nicely. So it's really hot. So I make another prototype and I bring it to Hong Kong, and then Los Angeles. So we do a lot of testing on the beach to make sure it works, and it works very well. So the last location recently that I got to is in Premier, and you can see it very beautiful. And so this equity artwork, it has something interesting that is crossing 6 different art disciplines. It's a conceptual art because it can see and execute an artist, a contemporary artist. It's a sculpture bas relief. It's make the bas relief of text on sand and here. It's a wearable art. It's a performance art because it's wearable. It's a performance art. And it's intervention art because it's planting a seed in your mind that says, don't leave anything behind. And it's using an advertising method of repetition and effortless execution. So we bring it to Belgium and make a video and take pictures. And we have Vietnamese text, English text, and we're aiming to produce thousands and thousands of these and sell it, so we can all have it and spread the message, of equity, living peacefully with nature, don't leave anything behind. Because under each of the slipper is the text that says, don't leave anything behind. Good traveler leave no traces. And if you can look at this one, it says "Phật thủ ngầu không lưu dấu." Or you can say "Phật thủ ngầu đi vào ngầu." So it's I think it's a concept that is not so heavy-handed, which is something that I think it can help you to get into people's mind, and they people don't look down, and they can feel they want to do it. So that's the big goal for next year, and I hope with your help you can wear a piece of art and become a collector and send it to other friends, and you can help to clean up the trash on the planet. Because each of us, we have 7 billion people in the world, and every day we don't have to do anything extraordinary. We just do something simple. We bend down, we pick up one piece of trash, and that would be 7 billion pieces of trash. And you don't throw out one piece of trash every day, that will be 7 billion pieces of trash, not on the street, right? So that's how you clean up and you make simple things become a phenomenon. And I think that's how I want to start the work with. Something that's very simple and it's doable, which is very important. Because propose something really big and cannot do is useless. And I'm not a real actor, so bear with me. Just trying to get the point. And all the trash we see here, we don't bring it to the scene to make a movie. We collect right on the scene, which is amazing. Even the piece of glass is right on the sand. So we just have to use it. And I think that's something that's very significant because we don't have to bring trash to the place. And there's another saying is "Thiên hành vô chỉ tích." That means you're a good traveler in those places. So we want to aim it, at the youth, the youngster, and somebody that's gonna be conscious of the environment and can help us to, because they are the owner of the farm. trust behind, and I just want to end the presentation with a saying from Aldous Huxley. He said that when I was young, I wanted to change the world, but I realized that the easiest thing to do is to change myself. And with equities, you don't even have to change yourself. You just walk with equities, and the whole thing gonna change. And we can change the world by walking with equities. And at the end, you can see that the slipper has no tank. What do you think? Because I discussed with the editor, and we decided that it's a philosophy of action. You can wear a $5,000 piece of slipper or suit, but if you throw trash, then it doesn't mean anything. You can walk barefoot. Still, that means something. That's the message I said. Thank you.
Thank you so much, William. It's very impressive how you make the link between your art and the building problem about mobility, pollution, waste. So, very interesting. Before we have the panel discussion, because I have some questions for you about the art, I would like to inform if Gianluca is there and ready to give this presentation. Gianluca?
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm ready. Can you see me?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Sorry for before.
No problem.
I'm all eaten. I'm actually more inspired now after I saw this beautiful presentation. And the last few scenes reminded me, I am from Italy originally. I've been here 25 years. And those dunes that I've seen are very similar to where I'm from in the States, the water. So I'm very connected with it. Which brings me to the presentation here. I'm going to share the video, see if you see it. You see it?
Yes.
Wonderful. So, I'm going to talk a bit, quickly about some of the experiences that I acquired. And actually, also one last thing, I've been to Vietnam and Hanoi, and only for a few days for something similar. And I really fell in love with 3 days only in the country, and I just can't wait to come back. I think it's a fantastic and beautiful country full of young people and full of energy that I have rarely seen, or actually I've never seen so far in my life. So thank you for having me. So what we do, already Peter said, we work with pilot cities and city government, national government with ISCM strategy, but also we try to bring these solutions from companies that provide those solutions, so we put both the public and private sector together to produce results. And Speaker Chan said before, the public-private partnership is a model we like very much. It's not a panacea. People talk about too much about public-private partnership, PPP, but not all the time it works, but there's an effort that should be made. This is I will skip, but I had a presentation for anyone who wants to see the experience that we had. I want to show the founder of our who used to be under secretary of the defense in the States and the president of NYU Polytechnic. And I say this because it was one of the people who together with Mayor Bloomberg did a lot of work to transform New York into a tech hub, mostly a much smarter city. We also produce this, the largest marketing summit in America. Why I'm saying this? Because I talk about purpose and they should talk about identity and how we brand the city. It's very important, and this is a way for us to bring each team the company from the world to showcase what they have. And so that people can know. What is Smart City for us? It's really how to go back to this. Yes, it's technology and people. Technology alone is meaningless, doesn't mean anything. Your phone, as I said once, is not going to make me like good coffee, and I go back to my Italian roots. And so I show you this. This is great innovation for me. What is it? It's for people who don't know, that's called mocha. It was invented maybe like 1920s, I think. It's the way everyone uses coffee in their home. That's the best coffee would be better than the espresso from the bar. And that's what makes me happy. I don't need to have an algorithm and an iPhone to be happy, right? It's not cheap. The iPhone is not going to make anything like that. So just to really make the point that it's important to be thinking about the goals. And that's why I think also the art is a critical element in making a city more livable. It's attractive. Art is about feeding your soul. And if you don't have that, the city is dead. So, a couple of quick things that I think, just something that I can see for Ocean City, but obviously there are goals that I learned that geography and heritage matter extensively. If you are a city on the sea, or if you're a city on mountains, it makes a difference. I heard sometimes I want to recreate Silicon Valley. Okay, why and how? It's not going to be possible. So you have to work on the strength that you have, and you have a lot of strengths and there, and also your heritage. What are really strong in your tradition? You go back for assets, and of course, I think what's critical in a smart city is access. Access, physical access. I mean housing. Housing is an incredibly important problem. The first thing that people need is food and shelter. And in the States, for example, we have a huge problem for affordable housing. A lot of people have really hard time, especially in successful global cities, including New York. Now, COVID is over, but it's very hard. And that global connection and talent. We believe talent is extremely important, which is the oil of the times. Okay. I'm going to skip this discuss, but I will say why New York is a smart city. People ask. New York, in many respects, is not a smart city. They take the subway, and now it's much smarter. Like until 5 years ago, you couldn't even see when the train is coming, for example. But it will be used for 24 hours and take you anywhere. It's smart because of the way things have changed here. They created an innovation ecosystem, which I believe is the heart that pumps the blood for anything you want to innovate in the city. It's like it's something that creates or regenerates like constantly. That's why the innovation ecosystem, people, entrepreneurs, artists, the creative class is so important. That's what we did in New York to make it really work and produce and be bigger and become the second tech ecosystem in the world. This is like the numbers of why New York is the second tech ecosystem in the world. It was over 2 billion VC money in 2019, etc. But again, I'm going to go fast in this. The innovation ecosystem is an ecosystem. So you have to build an ecosystem. It's not an agenda, it's a policy agenda. That includes the academic industry, government. You don't know this thing. But it's very true. Everybody knows that it's very hard to create a real coalition collaboration. And it includes leadership to create all these elements and put them together. I think I believe lesson that I learned. And New York, when I came here, I realized since I work from the city, New York has a lot of arrogance, right? They say, like, you're New York, you don't need this, you don't need that. New York. People are going to come here because we said it's out there, but the American versus it. No, but there are some things in which New York is actually very strong. This is one thing that we start becoming every year is all the one NYC. It's a strategic plan of the resiliency, both from the standpoint of the economy, the environment, but also social resiliency. So I would cope with some shocks. And it's really extended every 4 years gets new. The last one included about $180 billion investment between public and private in but having a kind of big vision and trying to keep up with the network. And it's celebratory too. Access, this broadband access, this is an NYC transform all the capital into stations to get Wi-Fi at 1 GB per second for free. And that's a way to create access to broadband. Even today, now, there are like 20%, 25% of people who don't have broadband. And with digital, with COVID, you can't go to school. You cannot really learn. And if you don't have broadband, you can't go to school. A few initiatives. So New York didn't have a smart cities organization because they didn't really need to do it, but there are a lot of initiatives. Like some of them are related to business applied sciences. We created a huge new campus for Arttech, but also I want to go into the green part of it because originally with Peter we're talking, with Peter, also with Stephen and everyone again. Now we're talking about the sustainability solutions. Now, for sustainability, New York started something called adopted it was the most ambitious green set of laws that any city has ever done in the last, just like 2 years ago or less. It was behind, but then basically they said we had to become carbon neutral by 2050. So we accelerated the timeline, especially for buildings. In New York, 70% of carbon emissions are made by buildings, and then a lot of cities they really, especially with old stock, almost anywhere, they represent the vast majority of emissions. Mobility is probably 30%, 40%, depending on the city. So they said a lot of American target, a strong target, which I think the most important one, every building that is 25,000 square feet and higher has to retrofit to meet these targets, otherwise they get a very high fine. They have to start in 2024 and it's reviewed by 50% of 2030. If they don't, they pay fines. So the real estate industry was extremely against it. But it passed, and it's going to cost about $4 billion only for this building. So you can imagine also sometimes there's a pushback. But you have to do this. You have to also have policies by the government that are mandatory to avoid, to take care of climate change. I want to show you a couple of things that, just before I go, 2 quick examples of regeneration, and I'm going to also see the solution exactly what sustainability. This is the creative industry. We said it's very, very important, and New York has dedicated a lot of money and a lot of programs to help the creative industry. You can understand now it's really, really the most it's in the most danger recovery because all the places are closed. So that was about Italy, and it also is really so it's very important to really focus on that because it brings the artists are people who have ideas. This is an idiot. It's a great example of regenerating this used to be where they built the ships for World War II. You cannot fathom these. It's been transformed. It was donated to the city, and now it's a big like city and the city owned dedicated to innovation. That benefits also the local community in terms of jobs, and a lot of great new things have been done here, including how to regenerate oysters, for example. New York was a big, big oyster bed for the entire Western world at some point. That they want to regenerate it means lots of filtered water. See this community. So, at least I have 3 examples of great cities where reinvented themselves without exactly investing on the creative industries and culture. Pittsburgh was a steel town, was almost dead. It's not a very, very prosperous city in biotech. Medellin wasn't, we have seen Narcos, it's famous now, the drug capital of the world, the most it's completely very different place now. And it's very focused on life, on livable. One last thing that I want to capitalize. So, first of all, let me check, and I want to get out of this for a second because I'm going to show you this. This is something that I want you to look at, and it is a solution want you to consider. So what is it? This is a way to decarbonize, help the carbonization of cities. And it's called AIR. We're working on an engineering firm from Portugal, and they serve a lot of very small companies like Volkswagen, Deloitte, etc. And really, what is AIR? AIR is basically a way to accelerate the carbonization of cities. It's based on blockchain, and it's based on nudging people behavior. Why? Because at the end of the day, if people don't change their behavior en masse, all of us, it's very hard to really move to a carbon-free world. So how does it do it? The solution is this. Why don't we reward what is automated instead of punishing the people who remain? We change the pattern. How do you do that? Every time you take a means of transportation, okay, like a bicycle, you quantify the CO2 you have avoided. Okay, and then you get digital credits in there. It's sort of like it's a digital frequent flyer program and with points, but also a sort of a separate currency, purely green, and then spend to go on Starbucks, different factors, etc. How does it work? You multiply, it's valued according to the place. Like in Europe, it's calculated to be about $40 a ton, and then you accumulate those credits, and you will pay. That creates an incentive. The larger the ecosystem, the larger the people will participate, and people are going to change their behavior. How do you do that? This is an example. Why it's also good for companies because it helps them to create customer loyalty. Customer acquisition costs go down, and they can keep people because they agree people want to be with this company, and so they come and they take your public transportation, also they take your bike sharing company. Or if you're Starbucks, just to give an example, they also come and buy your coffee. This is just like and I'm done with this. What is the impact? There was a reduction, so in public transportation was an increase, there was like Portugal, 13%. There was a huge reduction in pollutants also, of course, we did not use CO2, and the carbon footprint of each citizen reduced by 40%. So this is one growth. It's been done in, by 20% carbon footprint. The population participation was 40% into the trial, and so it's really slightly more quality. If you put it on like large scale, that would be very useful. You should consider this. Anyone who's doing anything at the level of company or cities, business or city government. Happy to talk about this, sector. And so I want to close with one thing, which is. Sorry, then I'm done. I don't want to make it too long. Back on my presentation, two things. Sorry, what you mean? It's not working. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, going back to the city again, since I'm in time, I want to touch on this. This is just moving. Okay, this is us. I mean, I want you to know that stuff. So I remember watching a video about how the smart city is, and it reminded me of a cartoon called The Jetsons when I was a kid, by Imagine the Future, where you can basically every person would eat pills like astronauts. If you want a city like that, then I don't want to live in that city. I mean, yeah, you can have the best technology in the world, I couldn't care less. I want to be able to eat the food that I love. And I know also Vietnam has a good strong tradition of music. So you need to, this is just to show that that's extremely important for happiness. And finally, this is this is a small place. It's called Positano, which is famous. It's off the coast. I use it because I love this place and being there. I know to be with a kid. But isn't smart. Smart, there's a lot of technology there that helps people, but I want to preserve this heritage, this being, that sort of real technology. technology and solutions and innovation Arttech need to be aimed at, not transforming this into fantastic big skyscrapers. I don't kill myself with something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gianluca, for sharing your experiences from New York and to bring us to the beautiful Italy. Um, yeah, thanks to all the panelists who bring the vision on what is a smart and livable city, and it's very interesting to see that each analyst has another perspective, but at the same time, you see that creative industry art comes back in many presentations. Now I would like to start a short panel discussion, and I have some questions for the panelists. I would like to start with you, Gudan, because I was very impressed by your art interventions. Unfortunately, one of the videos was not working, but I was lucky that I could see the video before. But with one of your art interventions, you address the pollution in the city of Ho Chi Minh. Um, so my question is, when you start with your art interventions, how do the people in Ho Chi Minh react when they see your art, and how does it bring back the livable city?
Mm, yeah, because when I started out with my circumstance, the video that you saw, I think it's the way to show that. Let's say the first video that people see, I consider it is the seed of society, and we all live together, flexible, and then at the end you burst out and you separate it because you are collective, but somehow you want personal freedom. And in the second video, I go down underneath that skin, and then I want to show that the energy, inside underneath the skin is going into the tubes and propel, driving forward. And I think when people look at that, they have a visual image of what the exhaust doing and how much exhaust that come out in a minute. And so I think when you have that image in your mind, it's easier to think about how much pollution you produce, and then at the end you constantly doing something to reduce it.
I want to make a link with Ho Chi Minh City today. As we know, Ho Chi Minh City has a lot of urban problems in terms of mobility, in terms of pollution. That's what you also highlight in your art. But which part of the city is the place where you want to be and why? In which district or in which part of Ho Chi Minh City would you like to bring the people to highlight the problems?
If you look at the last presentation, the last part of it, I know that traffic in Ho Chi Minh is very bad, at certain time of the day, rush hour traffic. But if you look around and you go to LA, you go to big city in the world, it's pretty much the same, which is a shame around the world, not just in Ho Chi Minh. In Ho Chi Minh, it's just like the huge number of motorcycles that makes it look very impressive. But if you go anywhere, you see the same problem. But when I propose the sleeper, the equity artwork, I want to aim at a bigger picture. That as an artwork that actually impact the whole population of Vietnam, and maybe it can travel even further outside.
So you actually want to highlight more the problem of the city more than one specific part of the city?
Yes, I think it's very hard to point out just like let's say district one or district two or district Wuhan. It's you got traffic everywhere.
And do you agree that this one, or do you think there are some parts of Boston city that have much bigger problems than others, or do you think it's also about how to fix the whole urban system?
Thank you for your service. So, from my point of view, I also agree with the William. For all of the city, around the world, the city, we also have to try to do the same, obviously, like traffic congestion, like noise, like urbanization, like overpopulation. But I think it's also different between the city and the city or around countries. And I think why we want to divide it here, and we also can see that when we are talking about the smart city or like the smart city, we are always talking about the infrastructure. So we are talking about the technology and also management activities. We haven't mentioned much about how we can inspire the people to go with try to increase their culture. So probably we need to do something go to target about the pollution. But then we can work with the other fields. We also can have our reforms, and we also can have to learn how to put together to send out a message of India. We go in the same message that we want to make better quality of life. We want to reduce the noise, the better congestion, the dust treatment, and so on. I think it's really very nice, and also we can apply our different like this year we also try to make identity for the city through the Arttech feature too. And we also try to make international one and national three. But this has to be easy to scale. Every district, every city in Vietnam and so the other cities of the country. But I think it's a way that we are talking that by there's the same volume and there's a connected
I think by this conclusion that the urban problems are not only the problem of Boston City or many cities in the world. I have a question for you, Peter. You are currently working on the Smart City Master Plan of 7 cities around the world. Um, Also in Hanoi, so you have the knowledge of the local context here in Vietnam. So my question for you is, Peter, what are the biggest challenges for Vietnam to develop more livable smart cities in comparison to other parts or other cities in the world?
That's a good question. I think that most of all, to define a smart city from the government that is quite important. Because without understanding truly about the definition of smart cities, then they cannot just move forward one step forward. That's kind of really challenging points. And the Vietnamese government they try to bring the whole economy, domestic economy, so the national and so they actually have movements. There's a certain model from Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, and South Korea, Japan. Some of them might be really measurable to Vietnamese personal circumstances, but at the same time, they have to find something they have to hold on. Right? So, for example, Chinese economy showed amazing growth in the past 20 years. The thing is, they still, you can see the amazing the high growth, economic growth rates, and also the amazing changes in the last 2 decades. But they pay lots of money, they pay lots of social cost to make something really the renovated make something that will be the eco-friendly ecosystem. So they really pay a lot of money on water pollution and the air pollution and the communities and crimes and everything. So there's a kind of dark side of the course. So the deal with Vietnam's government, how potential future cost to deal with this kind of phenomenon throughout the responsibilities. And I think that the most important thing also is the consistency of policies that government should pursue to launch. In particular, policy to secure and support the various test area for responsibilities. The economy so that new technologies solution and innovative new industries and not really thought of regulation. That's why we need some strict law to set the deregulation zone for your interest and performance and countries in Yuan. And in addition, it seems that there is a need for institutional improvements so that the overseas startups and investments, these institutions can come together and they can work freely. In addition, I think that it's also important to establish a tariff policy for the local, these the conglomerates, so that they can allow, it allows that major conglomerates, for example, Big Group, BNPT, VXL, EDN, these kind of big guys, they can actually easily accept the new innovative solutions technologies in their hands and collaborate with each other with multiple level of the layers of the software and technologies. So the reason why green smart city is not really successful because this kind of the homogeneous type of the they only accept, they only have their local companies and local big guys, but they're not ready to accept the kind of innovative companies outside of Korea because of jurisdiction issues and the government they actually have to have some sort of the decent reason to pay off for the stock companies, but there's no such a kind of policies and the legal processes yet. So that's something that I'm actually working on with the Vietnamese government to run one of the high potential entities and companies on our side together.
Okay. Yeah. I think your reply is very interesting. So on one hand, you look at the government to support innovation, and you also recommend that the economy and the innovative space and the platform for more innovation is needed in Vietnam. So that brings me actually to Gianluca, because Gianluca, you give us the case of New York, where the creative industry is booming. You also get into this intersection of economic development, technology, and business development. So my question for you is, you also have visited Vietnam. What are the potentials of Vietnam in this new creative industry, these new sectors?
I see. So, I think, as I said before, there's an incredible potential. I was there, and I also met actually the Minister of Finance and a couple of other people. We were talking about a plan to digitalize all the different municipal services all around Vietnam, 63 provinces. But through that, I came to learn more about the country. So, definitely talked about digitalization of services is important because it makes seeing more efficient and communicating with people. But I think where I go back to what I was saying before is that there are a couple of very important things. One is that you have some strengths. One of them is the Xiyang country in terms of not because it doesn't Xiyang things was born yesterday, but the people are young. So you have a very high percentage of young people, very high. I mean, you can compare to Italy, for example, and it's so like Germany, like that. That is a strong asset. So how to leverage those? Those are basically tend to be created. So you have to help them access more education, different type of education. So creating a talent pipeline is extremely important. For example, the computer science is one. There's so many new skills that are useful, but computer science definitely is becoming something that's a must. Before it was an option, now it's really a must. So, an example in New York in all the public schools, a few years ago, there was a program that was started with the help of the private sector, with $80 million to teach computer science from kindergarten to up to the end of high school at 17 years old. And it was financed with 40 million from the city. That 40 million were given by industry leaders, people from Google, AOL, venture capital funds. Why? Why are they doing that? Yes, they get a tax reduction, but that's not really the main point. The main point is that they also, first of all, they have a stake in the prosperity of the city. So that's something we need to, I think, create in Vietnam. Make sure that people who have success come from that stake and they can take care of their own place. They're not like, okay, I have success, I don't care. Because the success of the environment of the community is also the success of the company. Secondly, they needed the skills. And I need to hire it. So definitely that. Secondly, I would say what you're doing is that you need, and I agree with that we need to have that stronger identity. You have an identity. You need to make it stronger, more well known. So marketing, branding outside in the world, telling stories about Vietnam, it's extremely important. I think creating global connections and partnerships, also for talent. You can create programs with exchange students to, something that's particularly useful and unique in Vietnam. And finally, I was saying that you need to the creative industry. We're talking about before the arts and in general, creative industry is entertainment, is performing arts, it's music. If there are ways in which you can help that with the public and the private, but again, how? There are a couple ways. One is that, for example, to try to provide space. Space is very cheap. Providing even free space. There are a lot of buildings, for example, that can be run down. If you try that with the developers and say, okay, let's offer space to these artists, for this studio, almost free. And in exchange, these people are going to come in, but they're going to also read alike. So you open retail stores or food stores, people are going to buy things. So I question people, okay?
So actually it's kind of startups, innovative startups and HCMC.
But also Arttech. The art is not just startups, also the arts. The arts teach people are very important.
But actually your reply brings me to the end, because Kim is working for the city of Ho Chi Minh City, and I have a question about the rapid urbanization. Gianluca said that Vietnam has a young population, but that young population is a growing population. So we have a lot of challenges from the urban point of view with the rapid urbanization. And my question for you, Nim, is how do you look at Ho Chi Minh City as an innovative, developing city? And which part of the city and which trends do you see for the future evolution of Ho Chi Minh City?
Personally, I agree with the debate that working cities and Vietnam is very potential for the smart city development. But it doesn't mean that we can realize the smart city visions easily. Um, Actually, in the last few years, we have raised most the smart cities, and we have done something great. But there's a lot of struggle that we need to resolve. And another is how we understand the smart cities like people before. I see that in the presentation, I see that is most cities already have very good definitions for their smart city plan. And it's mostly about people. I say it's mostly about people. So I think this something that we need to enhance in the city because now we need to talk about technologies. Yeah. And at least in the city is people. Technologies not everything. And the semester is much more to resolve everything. Like the risk of video, video is video is was smart percentage that in cities. So now is suffering with the COVID-19 now, and as in city is yeah, it's pretty good enough. So so that it's not really able to resolve everything. But people and we have regular people. Yeah. And so totally to consider as you we have a very topics of meetings specify very solutions to the development and what the capacity and brilliant can really improve the livability of the city. Um, and for the second, for the second, you remind some question.
Actually, your slides are very clear. The main conclusion for me is that smart cities is not only about technology and about innovation, it's mostly about people, it's about creativity. So I think that's also something to share with your peers in the public that you have a narrow view on smart cities. And I hope presentations of today were an eye opener that it's not only technology, it's the people, it's creativity, it's art, like without his interventions. I think I have to look at this one, if we can have time for some questions from the audience, or okay, you can do it. Okay. Then we can stop the panel discussion, and we would like to invite Ms. Tao to bring us the conclusions and to summarize the conclusions of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you for interesting sharing and discussion. I would like to the Arttech future in many ways is what is that is segment. So because it's bring new things for many people visit this center. And can feel how people try to have and test technique technical at the legal finance design. This is best. This is what we can before presentation and interesting discussion. I hope all of you will have the key message for us how to develop livable strategy. Thank you for your time and your contribution to this webinar today. I see you in the next event of Smart City Plus or Technology in 2021. Wish you a good start for a successful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Take me to Washington City. It's I see how many has the mask there. Yeah. You're moving great. Can I come there? Please?
Yes, okay. Fly over here. We are waiting for you.